My name is Albert Geigel and I'm the founder and principal of Tadar Services. I look after dental practice valuations, benchmarking, corporate restructure, establishing trusts and companies, self-managed super funds, tax advisory work, all for dentists and the dental industry. One of the things that I find is that even with me looking after a client who's buying a practice and doing evaluation and looking at the financials and everything else, that there are a number of other considerations that sometimes get missed. And one of them that should always be front of mind is why. Why is this practice for sale? What's the owner doing? Are they retiring? Is there some other issue that's pushed them to sell the practice? So it's always a good. I don't often think that you will get an honest answer unless you're dealing with a practitioner who's 75 years old and it's obvious that they're retiring. But you do need to be asking yourself that question when you're going forward to the practice and looking at, look, where are there some possible issues with this practice I'm buying? The other bit is staff. Have a good look at the staff. Sometimes hard to tell, but do we think we've got a good culture? Do we have high turnover of staff? Do we think most of those staff will come across now that it'll go to a new owner? Is there a key member of staff that we really must make sure that we've got on board with that practice? It's what I often say, that the best practice sales are often ones from the principal to an associate who already works there. So if there's ever an opportunity to buy a practice that you're working at, it will probably be the best opportunity. Negotiations on price can often be a little bit tricky because it's the old boss and you're now going to be taking over, or you're going to be potentially a 50% owner with them. But it's an issue that certainly can be overcome, and often it's one that leads to the best result, in my opinion. The lease for the premises, sometimes it's overlooked. Now I know most of the dentists out there would dearly love to own the surgery premises that they're working from, but sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes it's just not possible. If you're in a shopping centre or something like that, where it's not possible to own the surgery, then you need to look at that lease. It needs to be a long lease. It needs to have 5 years or more. If you've got less than 5 years, you're unlikely to get a loan from the bank to buy the surgery business. Ideally, you probably want 7 years or more with that lease coming over. The structure. Most people do ask this as a second point. A trust, a company, what do I do? It really depends on the circumstances. So I always make sure that I have a good understanding of both the target practice that is being bought and the intentions of the buyer as to what they're proposing to do. Are they likely to buy this one and then they're looking for their second and their third? Or it's this one that's going to grow? Are we better with a trust structure where we can distribute profits amongst a number of family members? Do we need to take advantage of a bucket company or a self-managed super fund tacked in as well? This is a very important discussion to have when you're going into buying a practice. From my point of view, I will never set up the structure until you're certain of buying the practice. That means you've made an offer, it's been accepted, contracts are being drafted up. I can set up your corporate structure in a matter of 2 or 3 days. All the lawyers are doing with the contract is putting a name in one place or another. They can put any name they like. So 2 or 3 days is not long to wait to be able to make sure we've got the right structure set up for you. Always make sure you've got the right structure and you've got a reasonable understanding of what's there. Due diligence. Once you've made an offer, usually the sale contract will have a due diligence period, and that's an opportunity to just further verify financial and other information that both parties have accepted as being true at that point in time. Often that's the first opportunity that I will have to review payroll records, staff entitlements, a tax return, business activity statements, those type of things, which are usually concerned to be released prior to an offer being accepted. Don't skimp on the due diligence. You're paying a lot of money for the practice. You really want to make sure that your lawyer and your accountant digs into what's there to uncover anything that might be unknown. And quite often, it's unknown to the seller. I've had cases where the staff room that was added to the back of the property didn't have sign off on the planning permit. I've had situations where just your operating permit and the number of car parks you're supposed to have hadn't been updated for the fact that you've now got 4 chairs in the practice and originally there was only 2. You need to make sure you've got those permits and you're able to operate that when it changes hands. Don't skimp on the due diligence. Lastly, the handover. Everyone sort of seems to go along, and a good handover is something that's critically important. Do we need to get the practice owner to have a nice, warm, welcoming letter sent to clients, or are we not doing that in a formal manner? How are we handling changeover of high caps, staff employment contracts, all of those sort of things, bank accounts, what's happening with patient fees that are outstanding that get banked after the due date, outstanding supplier invoices and all of those things. Yes, they should be taken care of. For those people that do run through that with me, I've got a fairly detailed handover checklist that goes through those so that you're just aware, yes, can tick that off, yes, we've contacted suppliers, we've set up new accounts, we've done this, we've done everything there so that it can be as smooth as possible. And I always say to people, the first 3 months of practice ownership is just going to spin you out. There's going to be a whole lot of things there that are new, that you didn't do, that are going to be frustrating. But hang in there. After a lot of that's there, it'll just become, fairly common and easy for you to manage. So if you're buying a practice, if you need a valuation, if you're already in, you've made an offer, and now you think, well, look, maybe I need a bit of additional due diligence or I need some help, give me a call, let me know where you stand. I'm more than happy with a free consultation to make sure you're on the right track. All the details are below, my email and phone number. Get in touch, I'm happy to help.